guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 11 on DraftKings. We're going to talk about some of the top stacks this weekend for GPPs. I have my own little grading thing that I do to try and find value stacks for the weekend that grade out very well across not just the quarterback or the matchup, but like the quarterback, two of their pass catchers, to find out where the best value stacks are and ones that have bring back players as well that are viable to help you correlate your lineups through a core of 4 players or more if you'd like, if you really wanted to onslaught a game, to give us the best opportunity. When one of those stacks goes off, we just see a whole bunch of our lineups race to the top of the GPP charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to break these down. I don't even really have a puke stack. This is one of the best value weeks of the season on DraftKings when it comes to stacks, when it comes to 1 through 4 of that quarterback, 2 players on their same team, and a bring back. So like, it's very refreshing to see this much value on the board. If you wanted to pick up the cheat sheet that comes out every single Friday afternoon, we have 3 subbing options for you. You can become a subscriber on Twitch, where I'm live 5 days a week. You can become a YouTube channel member here, also $5 a month, or you can go to smizzle.tv/Discord, and there is a column that says server subscriptions, same price, $5 a month. All of them get the same permissions. Just get in where you fit in, wherever you like to watch the show. Or if you wanted to go straight over to Discord and not have to deal with the linking, you can do that. Smizzle.tv/join to become a channel member here. And we are going to break down everything right after the bump music. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is posted for week 11. Make sure that you get in. It is $10 to enter, 3 max, $40,000 in the prize pool, 10% of first place. 10% of the prize pool to first place, 10% of first place to 10th place, and absolutely no rake, the best tournament that exists on DraftKings. But it's not in the lobby. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links to find the link to that and everything else that I do. So head over to smizzle.tv/links and just go right down the list. Click everything. Click all the things. And let's get to the stacks. CJ Stroud on the cover, and for good reason. So like last week, there was a lot of pickiness, right? Because, well, you know, he went off last week, so we definitely can't play CJ Stroud stacks this week. That's this Vicini method of I can't choose the drink in front of me, and it's very basic. We try to not be basic on this channel in our analysis, right? Like comping player. Well, CJ Stroud, you know who he's like? He's like this other light-skinned black quarterback from Ohio State. Like, that's lazy analysis. Let's not do that. Same as, well, you know, he had a good score last week, so he's not going to have a good score this week. And we can't play his pass catchers because they had good scores last week. If it looks like a good game and a good matchup, you should probably just play the quarterback in those stacks and ignore all of the other nonsense. He has possibly posted the best rookie season of all time. It's got, you know, a bunch of games left to go. We'll come back and judge this after week 18 to see exactly how good it is. But like 15 touchdowns through the first 10 weeks with only 2 interceptions, a rating over 100. He's been outstanding. And now he squares off against the Arizona Cardinals, who have basically hemorrhaged points and yards and efficiency against opposing offenses. Now, they saw a bunch of usage last week, right? 2 weeks ago, Pierce was out and Singletary didn't do anything. Right, he broke everybody's hearts. And then last week, everybody's like, you're never going to get me again. I'm not playing Singletary. And he had 32 opportunities. He doesn't correlate well with, with Stroud. But Arizona, one of the worst teams in the league, I think, giving up the 3rd most DraftKings points to opposing running backs because they play from behind a ton. But how are they going to get that lead? Right? They give up the most yards, they give up the most catches, they give up the most touchdowns to opposing running backs, but they don't really have a strong running game, do the Houston Texans, and I think they're going to have to pass it. However, everybody's questionable in the receiving room except for one Tank Dell. Okay, he's the only one who's not. All of a sudden, after a couple of really solid weeks, and a couple meaning since week 6, 5 targets or more in each of the last 4 games, explosive games the last 2 with 153 and 172 yards receiving for Noah Brown. He's done all of this on only 1 touchdown. He's getting there on volume, and it's easy volume, but he missed Wednesday's practice. Wednesday is that practice where veterans get a day off. He's not that much of a veteran that like he should be getting Wednesdays off, but we'll see if it was just like a scheduled day off and they got to give it to, well, he's got his knee hurts. There's plenty of guys that you could stack him with. Nico Collins missed last week. Limited participant on Wednesday. Also, Dalton Schultz really solid, and also Bobby Trees played. Didn't practice Wednesday. He's a veteran. He gets like every Wednesday off. You're going to pick two of these guys to go with CJ Stroud. And on the other side, there's plenty of players that you could find on Arizona because Kyler Murray is the best graded stack of the week and one of the top 3 graded stacks on the year in terms of value across the board. There's plenty of players that you could choose to go back with those CJ Stroud stacks, but Kyler Murray stands alone as a very solid stack indeed. We were kind of skeptical last week, right? Where they said he's not going to have any sort of limitations. He's back to the old Kyler Murray. And the thing that solidified that for me was that they said he's not even going to be wearing a knee brace. So, like, they had full confidence in what he could do. And they beat Arthur Smith. So, like, that's really good, too. Like, on top of all of it, Arthur Smith lost. So, like, lifelong Arizona Cardinals fan right here in this chair. So Kyler Murray, big time value this week, only 6,100, offers you a solid floor with his rushing yardage and attempts, and gives you a ceiling opportunity with the fact that he could run in touchdowns. Atlanta is a stronger defense on the whole as opposed to Houston. So we do have options that we could go with. You have Marquise Brown. All of these work as bring back plays. I kind of just really like this game and this game environment. Projects to be pretty fast. Neither defense hyper efficient. Both offenses varied and dangerous in the ways that they can attack you, and well coached, to be honest. So Marquise Brown has gotten all the volume that he could handle. He did not get it last week in his return. I'm going to chalk this up to being the Russian judge of a game, because every other game this year he has gotten tremendous volume, and if he gets that with increased efficiency through the quarterback, that will improve him as well. Mike Wilson, more of a end zone touchdown or bust type guy. Solid volume, but like he's a low ADOT, not going to break a lot after the catch. Not a really a downfield threat either. Doesn't separate all that well. That's why he has like no catches against man-to-man. He's strictly somebody who gets open. He finds soft spots in zone, and because of his size, he's an end zone target. Rondale Moore saw one of his highest target percentages on the year and his longest, deepest ADOT of the season. Rondale Moore has historically been in his career somebody who gets like these super low ADOTs. They don't throw him the ball. They throw him like negative air yard throws. So as you don't know what air yards are, it's how far the ball travels. ADOT, average depth of target, how far down the field. So an ADOT of 8 means they're throwing the ball 8 yards down the field. Rondale Moore got deeper last week down the field on most of his targets and got 8 of them. He's still really spry. So now instead of getting that J.D. McKissick usage without any targets, now they actually utilized him differently because of the change in quarterback. Something we love to see. Tremendous value at 3,300 potentially for tournaments. And I'll see about cash games as Friday moves along and I start kind of coming in for landing. One of the best value plays on the week, on the season, I said last week, was Trey McBride. He came through with 24 points. We're throwing out the game against Cleveland. Baltimore is the other one that's fine. Cleveland is too good against tight ends, so we can confidently throw this out, that he wasn't going to be able to get separation or get open. They weren't going to be able to do anything against Cleveland defensively. But against everybody else, Trey McBride's like an 8-target plus guy waiting to happen. He is an elite fantasy tight end, even if he's not like one of the elite tight ends in the league, like a Mark Andrews or a Kelsey or anything else. Plug him into that stack, bring it back with the other side. Anything that you can do with those two teams, I think, is extremely, extremely solid and very solid values. Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has not had a big game yet. In fact, he had a horrible game last week against San Francisco. But like San Francisco decided, hey, we remember that we could play defense. But all of this stuff is holding Trevor Lawrence's price down. The amount of targets that he has in the passing game is also holding the price down of his pass catchers and making them all pop as values, especially with Zay Jones out. Now it's not this multitude of receivers that is running around for him. And Trevor Lawrence does have a big game in him. Where that's going to happen is going to depend on how much his team gets pushed. Now, considering that Derrick Henry is part owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars with how he has thrashed them over the years, we'll wait and see if that still is a thing or if he just can't get loose anymore. But on this side, no receiver over 6K, a cheap tight end with value. Christian Kirk, 11 more targets last week, got 18 points. Ridley is boomer bust, downfield only, outside the hashes, runs nothing but 9s. Has to be included for tournaments, never should be near your cash game lineups. And Evan Ingram, only 4,300. Even though Tennessee has been solid against tight ends on the year, DVP using tight end can be extremely noisy and not as sticky. And with Travis Etienne being a 5-box running back, and every week I get questions, can I play Travis Etienne? Can I play Travis Etienne? Partially because of like the 4 straight games where he posted monster numbers and averaged like 27 fantasy points a game. People are going to want to keep going back to that because of anchor bias. And if he is going to project as a very highly played player this week at 20% or higher, going against Tennessee, who earlier in the year was very clearly a pass funnel defense, leveraging that with Lawrence double stacks would be an extremely sharp play on how to leverage the field. Let's go over to Underdog Fantasy. If you do not have an account over at Underdog, you can get up to a first-time deposit bonus of $500 on your first deposit to the site if you use the code ALSMIZZLE. That's ALSMIZZLE. Make sure that you go do that. If you don't have an account, they have a great site, fantastic best ball tournaments. That includes NBA, MLB, everything else, and they have these great pick'ems that we're going to do. So I'm going to pick 3 of them, 3 guys we've talked about already. With CJ Stroud, we're going to go Kyler Murray over 241.5 passing, and Trevor Lawrence 16.5 rushing yards, because why not? That's what I'm going to go with. $100 to win 600. We'll submit that. Hopefully we get this one. Boom, bing, bang. Head over to Underdog Fantasy and use code ALSMIZZLE. Jared Goff is the number 4 stack on the week. Jared Goff is at home. Jared Goff is better in a dome. It's not so much like everybody looks at the home road splits with Jared Goff, and they're viable to some degree, but like not really. You know, it's more Jared Goff's shortcomings as a passer on his career have been twofold. One, inclement weather. He is not a good player when it's windy. He's not a good player when it's rainy or snowy. And he's not a good player when pressured. Historically, he's not. And so now he's on the Detroit Lions, and he's performing really well. Guess what? The Lions have a top 3 offensive line in the league. They play all their home games in a dome. When they travel to domes like they did in Los Angeles, 24 fantasy points. So it's not about simply, again, let's not be basic. It's not as simple as home road splits. His best years with the Rams were the years that he had an offensive line that did really well in terms of pass block win rate. His horrible seasons with the Rams, the times that he had bad EPA per play, the times that he had lower touchdown percentages, and lower efficiency overall, were the years that they didn't have a good offensive line. That's just the way McVay's offense works, and it's actually carrying over to Stafford as well. When they won the Super Bowl, they had a great offensive line. All the other years, they did not have good pass block win rates, and that offense is a mess. It requires time. So Goff takes that to another level. When they block for him, when he doesn't face pressure, and when there's no sort of weather messing with his throws, he does really good. Chad said he's an indoor cat. I think that's a great way to explain Jared Goff. Jared Goff likes the sunny spot in the window, looking out at the birds and making that little chirpy meow, like looking at all the animals outside. That's a perfect can't you just see him right there? He's going, you can see he's making that little, I'm yelling at the birds in the backyard that are pouncing around. I want to go get him, but also I don't want to leave the sunny spot by the way. That's perfect. I like that. We can pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, by the way, very, very good. Still only 8,800. And comparing him to the other wide receivers on the board, he's cheaper than everybody at this high end. Hill, Lamb, Diggs, Allen. He's in that tier, but 500 cheaper than Tyreek Hill. We've seen multiple 300-yard games from him, or 30-point games from him, 2 in the last 4 weeks, 26 against Baltimore. Tampa Bay, pass funnel team. The Chargers can't stop anything. They didn't need him that much against Las Vegas. We do have the possibility, and I know that people are going to want to talk about this, that David Montgomery gets a revenge game. If there is a coach in the league who's going to try to force revenge game narrative, it's Dan Campbell. But let's focus on the passing game here. Not a lot of options otherwise. You have 2 guys that we could focus on, one being Amon-Ra St. Brown, the other one being Sam Laporta. Very clear routes to go. If you wanted to use Jahmyr Gibbs, if you think that he's going to maintain these 5 or more targets that he's had for the last 4 weeks, this one coming even with David Montgomery being back last week, 19 opportunities in that one in a game where they really got after it against the Chargers. You could include him in the pass game group as he has garnered over 15% of target market share the last 5 weeks. All the other wide receivers, big red flags for Jameson Williams. Like, if you didn't see the McDonald's meal that he had this week with the McFlurry on the cheeseburger with like an icy lemon, It's not about calories. I don't care what he eats. You know, these guys are prime athletes, but like, that's a red flag. You're not putting a McFlurry on a burger. Cut that out. I'm not using you in my stacks just for that reason. Josh Reynolds, also kind of a boomer bust. He's not going to get the same sort of volume as he got before when everybody was out. We could see Donovan Peoples-Jones make his debut, but all of these other guys are fighting to get the market share. 75% of it or more is going to go to these three cats right here. And like I said, the puke stack is not that pukey this week because Justin Fields is back. And I like Justin Fields. Coming off of the game where he got injured in week 6 against Minnesota, he was coming off of his 2 best games as a pro. Okay? 4 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown passes. They project to play from behind in this game against Detroit in a good offensive environment in spite of what Detroit's defense is capable of doing coming off of a game where they gave up 38 points to the Los Angeles Chargers. Total of 46.5 in this one. Looks like a pass script sort of game here. And there's certainly players that we could go to that are really good receivers who have actually done way better in the games where Justin Fields is there. He looks to DJ Moore and leans on DJ Moore a lot. We've seen some maturation out of Darnell Mooney as well. He has played exceptional recently, even with Bajent under center. I like him a lot at 3,300 for these particular stacks if he was able to get loose and get behind a defense. And Cole Kmet, the non-copyright frog, has been outstanding with 25 targets the last 3 weeks. Let's head over to the Solver. If you do not have an account over at the Solver, go to smizzle.tv/Solver. They have a great lineup builder as well as their Sims product, which we can run things through. Same rules, different face, right? Like, it doesn't matter what lineup builder you use. You find one that you like. Because it's kind of like a screwdriver or a hammer. There's no best screwdriver in the world. There's no best hammer in the world. You build things the way you want. I've put some simple rules into this one, just like we have done lifetime over at Rotogrinders and over at Fantasy Labs. We can build it around the 5 quarterbacks that we had. We'll click optimize to have it build us 150 lineups. And then we can use their simulation tool to see what it's going to like based on what the fields project to be, which is a really powerful tool to figure out, do all the math for you quicker than you could do it to find out where the good leverage spots are and the best combination spots. And based on what the Sims like this week, sorted by Sim ROI, Jared Goff stacks up top, likes Fields, likes Stroud a little bit, but it looks like Goff kind of is the one that it likes the most, and then a whole bunch of Kyler Murray stacks up in here of the 5 quarterbacks that we used in this video. So thank you guys for watching. Check out another video right there.
He's a legend.